Welcome, my friends, to the second part of our current series, From Debt to Destiny, a practical path to wealth, where Tiffany and I will discuss the Total Money Makeover plan developed by Dave Ramsey.
Hey Tiff.
What's up, Toya? How are you? How was your weekend?
Yeah, it's going good. I had to work. I told you
Uh,
this is the season for overtime. And it was yeah, it was pretty cool. And not too much crazy going on. Normally, we had an all hands meeting this weekend, or they call it all hands. And during all hands, generally we usually have like events and like giveaways and all this type of stuff, but we have a different, how do I want to say, we have a different executive team.
uh,
And they're eventful, like they do events during the week. But I was expecting it to be more like, how the previous supervisor, how she used to do it. But they do things a little bit differently, which is cool. I and then after, of course, I had to go grocery shopping.
right.
And when I went grocery shopping, I had like a few weeks ago ran into this woman. And I don't recall what she was attempting to do, but something she was doing made me stop and just want to engage with her, right? Her name is
Oh,
Sue. And
what was her name?
her name,
Cool.
Sue, Sue, Sue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this very, very tiny white woman. And so I went to the grocery store. It's like 10 p.m. Okay, I go late, super late,
Oh,
so I can
mhm.
get in. I don't have to be dealing with a whole bunch of people. And here comes Sue walking out the door. And I was like, oh Lord, because last time I met her, I was like, oh, we're probably gonna have a nice little conversation. I haven't seen her in a couple of weeks. I wonder what she's been up to. And
Does she work at the store?
she doesn't know, she's just a customer who came in. But the first time I met her, she was telling me her story about how she had recently had a stroke, either a stroke or it was a stroke, and how she lost all of her capabilities, within one side of her body, but she regained it completely. Like you can't really even tell that she had a stroke.
Mhm.
What you can tell though is like she has memory lapses, right? Like the last time I had spoke to her, I thought she had a son that was alive, and this time he was dead. I was like,
Oh no.
oh, I was
I'm
like, oh,
sorry to hear that.
because I was talking as if he was still alive, and I was like, oh, and yeah, how's your son? I bet your son. She was like, oh no, he's dead. I was like, oh. I said, I'm so sorry. I did not get that the last time that I spoke to you, because I was telling her she bought like ten things of soda. And I was like, if you just had a stroke, you probably shouldn't be drinking that much soda. And I'm like telling her soda, she's a smoker. And I was just like, you probably shouldn't do these type of things if you want to heal properly. And so that this time, so she was leaving and we had a really good conversation. And she had just casually mentioned that she was about to go home and eat some tuna. And she was like, it's going to be dry. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, I'm waiting on my food stamps. They haven't, good old state of Ohio. Like this is a no-brainer. If somebody don't have money, we should be going ahead and giving them like an emergency fund. And she was like, I'm still waiting on my food stamps. I haven't received my food stamps yet.
And it's
And I
the
was
middle of the
like,
month.
huh?
It's almost the middle of the month and she hadn't received her food
Well,
stamps.
I don't know when she applied. I guess the question would have been, when did you apply? But still, even though they have in the SNAP program an emergency, so you can get some monetary funds immediately.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe she ran through that. I don't know. I couldn't even begin to tell you. And she was like, I was like, it's dry. I was like, you're not about to put some mayo or some yogurt on it or something. And
Okay.
she's like, no, I really can't afford it. I was like, oh, I said, oh, I got you. So we walked back into the store and I bought her some mayo. I was like, you know what? You really need some relish too. You can't be doing tuna without relish. And I said, do you like it sweet or do you like it deal? And she's like, I like it sweet. So I bought her some, like a small thing of mayo and a small thing of relish. And she was really thankful. But I was like, that was the highlight of my weekend. And it actually, as I was doing my hair this morning, as I was doing my hair this morning, I realized that, that particular incident really played into what we're going to talk about today. Um, because one of the things, so 2 weeks ago, I did an overview of the book. We're not going to really highlight like the first 5 or 6 chapters. Well, we'll highlight the sixth chapter in going forward. But um, so the second part of this book, he talks about how do we get ready to have our money makeover, right? And so this is Dave Ramsey's book, The Total Money Makeover. And he has like this 7-step program. And within the 7 steps, he talks about how, in the first step, you have to save $1,000 fast. You need an emergency fund. And anytime that $1,000 is not there, you literally have to stop what you're doing, go back and make sure you have $1,000 emergency fund. I really
Mhm.
like that. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then he talked about step 2, where you have to pay off your debt using the snowball method. And the snowball method is just basically, taking your smallest debt and paying that off, and then moving to the next, and then moving to the next bigger one, etc.
Mhm.
And then he has step 3. Now we're about to go back and finish your emergency fund. And within that, you need to have about 3 to 6 months of your income saved up, right? Um, or I shouldn't say your income, but what you spend, right? You want to have about 3 to 6 months saved up. And then he stated, after step 3, go into step 4, where you want to maximize your retirement funding. And this is where you get into investments, starting your investment portfolio and ensuring that you have a retirement portfolio. Step 5 was college funding. It should be step 5. And then step 6 is the biggest one, paying off your home mortgage if you have one. I was like, what? One yet? I was like, okay, I can skip that one.
Right.
um, and then step 7, he said, build wealth like crazy. And in this is where it reminded me of Sue. He said, build wealth like crazy, because once you are really debt free, all that money that comes in can be used to just do things like have fun.
Enjoy life.
Yes,
Improve your
enjoy.
quality of life.
Bingo, bingo. So he talks about have fun. He says invest, start to invest. He likes to invest in real estate, and then debt-free real estate. Debt-free real estate, which is what you do. I like how you purchase your properties. You purchase your properties debt-free. And I think that's very wise. And when I saw you start doing that, I was like, that's very smart, Tiffany. That's very, very smart. I have another guy that I've been following, and he purchased his properties with debt and uses the equity within the home to purchase another one, etc. And I was like, that can become dangerous if you don't
Very
use that
dangerous.
right. That
Mhm.
that can become very dangerous if you
But
don't
I'll
use
tell
it
you
right.
what's equally dangerous to that is doing what I have done with no strategy.
True, true. And we'll talk about that because he talks about and I brought that up within our my last meditative Monday, where you do need, if you haven't developed a strategy and you need guidance, it's probably wise to get assistance with regards to how to build the right strategy now that you have a portfolio, because you want to make sure that your money is working for you, right? And so we can talk about that. But the last one, he said, once you get into this position where you don't have debt, which is, I told you, I was like, that's what Tiffany does. That's very smart, girl. Don't stop doing that. He said, give, right? And he said, a, a portion of this whole total money makeover, because he's a Christian, and he touts his Christianity. Actually, all throughout the book, he provides quotes from the Bible to substantiate some of the things in which he shares. And I was like, okay, this is part of the Bible that makes sense. Okay, in terms of how to leverage money. And then he actually also brought up, remember, I was talking to you during our last podcast when you and I were together about how mommy said, money is the root to all evil, but she was spending it like crazy. Money is the root to all evil, right? And how it changes you, etc. And so he talks about that, and he talks about the fallacy in that comment, the fallacy in that thought process.
Right.
And so
It's
he
basically like something like that's what poor people would say, but go ahead.
right. Meanwhile, they over there getting their hair, their nails, and new clothes every week. I mean, does that not amaze you? I'm like, where are y'all getting this money from
It's
to get your
fascinating.
hair,
Well,
your
they
nails?
don't pay taxes. First off, people who do that probably don't prioritize stuff that
It
people
should be
who
a
don't
priority.
do that, yeah, prioritize, right? Like, so I prioritize the fact that I have to have a whole fund
Mm-hmm.
for property taxes. I have to have a whole savings for that. I have to have a
Right.
whole savings for um, if somebody leaves my property in shambles, I have to
Mm-hmm.
prioritize, so they probably don't have to prioritize those things that you're like, where are they getting the money from?
Mm-hmm.
They
Right.
don't care that they in debt. You could
Mm-hmm.
look at it that way too. They don't really care that they have debt.
Mm-hmm.
Means nothing to them because some people are of the mindset they that I'm gonna die with debt anyway, or that type of thinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just have a skewed perspective. So it is fascinating that
I do. I
poor
sit
people
here and
manage to get their nails and their hair done and keep their nail. And the reason I have this hat on is because this weave is so old. It's trying to come out on its own. It's trying to take itself out. So it is fascinating. It's
right.
fascinating to watch that,
Mm-hmm.
somebody could just be so careless, so cavalier about their financial situation and have no strain or
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's
So
that is I no, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I'm just dumbfounded. I'm like, dang, I want to get my nails done. No, I'm calling Aja. Aja, can you do this over
if you've seen
here?
how big my great toenail is how long my great toenail is on my left foot right now. The other one just said, "The hell with this," and broke off on my right foot. On my left foot, I don't even want to cut it. That's how long I want to wait to see when my money gonna turn around so I can go get my toenails done. I want to
Um,
see if this toenail is gonna even last. You should see how long my toenails are. And then when they grow
um,
out, they start turning like a yellowish color,
oh my
kind
Tiffany, TMI. No, take the wheel. TMI.
of.
That is too funny. That is too funny. But
Yes.
yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting as we were going through, and I was I was just reviewing some of his steps. And so I highlighted them to you because I wanted to talk about it, the steps that he wants us to go through in order to have this total money makeover. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think I've gotten through, I'm on step two. I'm on step two.
With
And
emergency funds?
yeah, well, pay off debt using the snowball method.
Oh, well, that
Um,
was the first one. That was the first principle,
the
snowball.
first No, the first one, step one was save 1,000 fast.
Oh,
And
yeah, you did. Oh, okay.
yes,
I accidentally put
save,
them in the wrong order. Okay.
yeah, that's okay. Save 1,000 fast, right? And
Mhm.
so save 1,000 fast so that any event that you have an emergency, he said, when you go through this process, it is inevitable. Something is going to stop you, right? He is like, something is going to take you and pull you back. And I was like, boy, he was like, and he called it Murphy. You know who Murphy is, right?
Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law. He was like, something is always going to try and get in your way
Oh,
to
Murphy.
stop you. And that's what he called little Murphy. He said,
In the black world, Little Murphy.
little Murphy.
Nefru Murphy.
That was hilarious. I was like, oh, he is so spot on with that. Because that is true. You know, that when you are trying to start a new initiative, something always got to happen. And he
Always.
said, even when you're going through this process, even if you're like on step four, well, no, well, by step four, you should have finished your emergency fund. So that won't be an issue any longer. But if you're in step two, even when you're working on step two, which he said could take folks anywhere from 3 to 5, even just depending on how much debt you have, he
Mhm.
said that is primary. Get rid of
Mhm.
that debt. Cash is king.
Cash is
Cash,
king.
cash is king.
King.
He said,
Queen.
right, right. So he said, cash is king. Do not, um, when you're there, make sure you go back. Make sure you go back and always have that $1,000 in your account for an emergency. I was like, man, some folks will be cycling that in that phase, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 for some years, right? Because something
Crazy.
always got to come up. And
Always comes up to it.
yeah,
It always comes right now.
is what you're experiencing, right?
I
And
mean, it's
you have,
crazy.
okay, so let's talk about that because you have your properties before you've even gone through this, because I'm sure you had debt before you got into having properties, right? You had like
Mhm.
loans,
Just
school
a
loans,
little bit of debt, though.
a little bit. Okay. But even with going into getting your properties, I'm sure you've accumulated some while you've been trying to manage them, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Because stuff
So,
just keeps coming. It's almost like if you don't have what he's suggesting, like an emergency fund, it's
mhm,
like then the unexpected causes things to compound. So it starts spiraling.
correct.
And to
And
try to get a hold of a spiral, right?
correct.
It's like grabbing on a rope that's in a spiral, and you're just always trying. Oh, no. Better analogy. Better analogy.
What's
It's
that?
like going up. Remember when we was little and we would try to go up the down escalator?
Oh, yes, yes.
That's what it's like.
It takes some work. It takes some work.
It literally, like, you're like, okay, maybe if I skip 2 steps at a time, I'll
No.
still make it to the no. But yeah, no, I'm going through that right now, and it's because, just being candid, like the refrigerator went out
Mm-hmm. Wow.
because we're in an era where people don't leave their houses. They're consuming a lot more. They consume a lot more electricity, water. The usage, the normal wear and tear is no longer like normal wear and tear. Like, it is
Right.
excessive.
Right.
So like I have a refrigerator now in one of the properties, and the evaporator fan for the freezer. So
Mhm.
not only that, they lost all their food. So I gotta pay for that. It's just like It's like, what in the world? And I had home warranties on all of the properties. Guess what I did?
What happened?
I discontinued the home warranties because they keep increasing them in the background when you're auto pay, right? I would never get like a warning like, oh, it's increasing or nothing like that. And I noticed like, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Now I don't even file no claims and that they're increasing. Like, I don't have an understanding of that. I don't care what everybody else is doing. Don't increase mine, one, without
Well,
notification.
without notification, for sure.
Yeah. Two, y'all increase their mind as if, I'm filing claims or something. Anyway, long story short, I got it fixed. I ordered the part. This tech this tech from another company is going to fix it, but it's kind of like how they kind of box you in, right? Like, there was only one service professional that Samsung actually works with in this area that they allow to service their products. I said, one whole service, and I don't like them. I don't like them.
Okay.
And so they're super unprofessional. So I was just like, no, I'm not giving them my money and they get to talk to me crazy. That's crazy. Like, no. So I found a guy that does work on Samsung fridge and I just ordered the part.
Okay.
But yeah, like stuff like that, the emergency funding for that's like a surprise.
Yeah. So he talks about, don't begin investing until you have at least that 3 to 6 month emergency fund built up.
I
And
agree with
then
that.
you agree with that? Yeah,
That's totally true.
I was like, yeah, that makes good sense because when you do start investing, especially if you go into real estate, and you probably would want to consider having an emergency fund for your real estate as well. Making sure that you build that up on the side with regards to the expenses that are associated with that, especially if the rental income that you receive does not pay for all of the possible expenses that could arise.
Right.
But yeah, so making sure that you have probably two. In your case, you would have to probably have two versus building it while you are investing. And what I mean by that is because he said in step 3, finish the emergency fund, if you don't have investments, if you don't have real estate, is going to be based on just your bills, right? But now with you need to have two emergency funds, right? Because you don't, because that's already a part of your bills. That's already part of the income coming in and your bills, right? So you would have to probably and maybe you could actually reach out to him. He seems like he's a really, really open and available type individual. And he also has a podcast too, where, people who are
This
going
is
through.
Ramsey.
This is Dave Ramsey. He's really, oh man, I really like him. He's rough to listen to though. It's really, really difficult to listen to because it's like, I mean, he just like tell it like it is. And sometimes you be trying to fight him. Like I bought the workbook and he was like, okay, let's take inventory. Why are you here? Right? How did you get into this situation in the first place? And he takes you through this list, Tiffany, and I kid you not. And basically, at the end of the list, he's like trying to have you pinpoint why you were in this predicament. And I kid you not, Tiffany, I was like, yeah, it's because of this. I did this and this and this, and I let this person and this person. No, at the end of the day, it's all you, right? And he would I like in the book, it was weird because I was like, why I can't get past this page? I cannot get past this page. And although you do have those instances, and I was telling you, I made a couple of investment decisions when I was married, but he's right. At the end of the day, I didn't have to make those decisions. I could have said, no, I'm going to keep my derriere in the US and I'm going to work on myself, right? But I made some some decisions, where I put my investments in another country, and that's where they are, and I have no access to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have no enjoyment, no benefit of them, but it was my decision.
Mm-hmm.
And that took me a minute to get through. But once I got through that, I was like, okay, Toy, just move forward. Just move forward. And that was really, it was enlightening, it was humbling, and it just really allowed me to now push forward and complete step one.
Mm-hmm.
So we're there. And now in step two, so I'm in step two, paying off debt. I don't have a lot of debt. I do have some school loans, and I went and got my master's, and um uh I have a car that I don't actually own that I'm
What
still
happened to
paying
your
off.
car?
I gave it back. I asked them to come retrieve it. So they didn't repossess it, but I gave it back. I just contacted them, and I was like, here, you guys take this back because I can't afford the payments. Because I was, I had moved overseas and I hadn't found a job yet. Shortly
Mhm.
thereafter, though, I found a job. I was like, oh my God. So I couldn't pay the funding on that. So I have that. And then of course with this business, trying to make this business work, I have some debt there. So I'm going through the process of weaning down my, or weaning, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Of making sure,
Scaling
scaling, thank
down.
you, that was a better word. Scaling down my debt by releasing certain things that I'm doing just so I can get out of that debt phase and work solely on cash. And he said, every time you clear a credit card, girl, that I was like, what you say?
What do
What
you
you
say?
say?
Close?
He said, cut it, cut, close it, and cut that card up. I was like, oh no, because
I don't know about closing it though.
it's a backup plan. It's a backup plan. Yeah, he said you do not need in the book. He said, I don't know why people feel like they need a FICO score in order to survive. You do not
You
need one.
don't.
You don't need TransUnion, Equifax, anybody managing any of that. You can manage yourself. Cash is king. He talks about it. So if you haven't had an opportunity to read
Well,
through it,
Toya, you know, I've always listened to older people talk, so nothing that he is really saying is that profound. He just knew how to articulate it.
he
So
even
it's
he even
always
said
existed
that.
for me because even my ex-husband, he made me a binder when we first got married, made me a binder. We
Mm-hmm.
put all my bills in that, and he
Mm-hmm.
made me pay them off one by one, from the smallest to the largest, and I paid them all off.
Okay,
In
okay.
the 2 years that we stuck around, we was together longer unmarried than we were married.
I don't know what
But
good that is, right?
yeah, but I've always listened to and then Daddy, that's his favorite saying, cash is king.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of his favorite sayings. And then gosh, what is another one of his favorite sayings? If you don't send anything ahead, you won't have anything when you get there.
Yes.
So you can over invest too and cause problems for yourself. And I think that's what I did this last time. Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I over invested. Well, and it didn't just start with Geneva, right? Because I had a property that hadn't been finished, right? Because
Right.
Shasbury is
Because of
still not done.
Shasberry,
Right.
1213.
And then
Shasberry.
right. And then I'm up here purchasing another property right away. Like when I
Mm-hmm.
saw it, I was like, oh, I gotta have it.
Right.
And like it's a drug or something. And
Mm-hmm.
then I just regretted it because I was just like, that was stupid. I could have just waited for the next one. You
Okay.
know, when I was in a better in a better position to invest because I over invested. With this last one, I think that was also a tipping point
Mm.
for me too, because I started dipping in in other things like savings. I started
Robbing
dipping.
Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, and it was dumb. And the thing was is because honestly, it's because I had a goal to have 10 properties by December, but it was of last year. And I didn't have
Ah.
what took me to the 10 properties was because daddy.
Oh, but
Yeah.
the goal you set, and he talks about that when you begin this whole process of make your total money makeover, you do, and you said it earlier, I think maybe before we started recording, or maybe while we were recording, that you had to have strategy, right?
Yeah, I said it
Um,
while we've been recording.
while we
That when
were
you
recording,
invest
yeah,
without strategy, it's could turn into
yes.
a
It can. And even if you set a lofty goal of 10, it's always wise to go back and say, now how realistic is this goal using SMART principles, right? So you go back and you say, okay, I do want 10. I want, and this is my time frame. How realistic is it that I can have? Because maybe it wasn't realistic. It might be a goal, but it might not be the right goal, right? And so it's always wise to set the goal and then make sure, build your strategy around that goal and ask yourself the question at the end, is this feasible? And if it's not, and you have to take a step back and say, okay, maybe not 10, I'll do 7. And because every goal that you set should be leveraging that SMART principle. Is this something that I can do? Is it attainable?
mm-hmm,
Is it attainable? And so, he goes through that process. He talks about when we start, our money makeover, especially, really, really start with the end in mind. Where do you see yourself? What's the vision? And then kind of work your way backwards and start building towards that vision. And so, when you setting 10 properties, that wasn't a bad thing to do. I think where you might have missed a step is just going back and making sure it's attainable. Is this
mm-hmm,
something that is realistic? Is this something that is attainable? Right. And the other thing, though, you pay cash for that property, right? You pay cash
mm-hmm,
for it.
mm-hmm.
Nothing stopped you from pausing on it. It's not like you were paying a monthly rent or mortgage on it. Like, why couldn't you pause until you was in a better financial positioning? And go ahead.
Because when you do them through the land bank, like what I was doing, there's a time frame. And there's yeah,
Okay.
it's a time frame. And then it's also like, they give you specification, like you gotta do it the way they say
Okay.
so
Okay.
that the deed is transferred.
Well, I think through Dayton, they have for refurbishing homes, you should look into some grants. Do they prevent you from using grant money in order to help rebuild the home?
Well,
The only thing
that's
about their
how they
grants is
get the
that they
homes is
want you
through
to live
grant
in,
money.
huh?
That's how they get the homes is through grant monies.
So I'm
Yeah,
asking,
I
what
don't
is
know.
there now that you get it through them? Do they prevent you from, how do you go about funding the rebuild?
Okay, so when you do the application, it does ask on there like what finances. So you got to show a bank account. You got to show your bank account with the money in it, and then or if you're using lines of credit.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
don't know that the option could be like, oh, and by the way, also I got this grant money and I'm about to revitalize all these homes. Um,
Right.
yeah, I need to get
Ask,
into that though, getting into like writing for grants
it's
but you know
very,
what?
it's not difficult. It's not, people think grant writing is difficult. What I love about grant writing,
Mhm.
I had wrote a grant for a daycare, and I had got, what was it, 300,000 for them. Yes. 300,000 that I was supposed to be getting paid for out of that, but that's another conversation for another day. Um, but I had wrote, and they got a $300,000 grant, and I thought to myself, this wasn't very difficult because they give you specifications with regards to what they need from you. We provided it, and we secured it. Um, the other piece of that is when you do grant writing, it's a lot about emotions. I think if you pay attention to like the questioning and things of that nature, it really is not. It should takes a little bit of time to do. Um,
And now
uh,
with ChatGPT, probably no time.
no time. Hello, you put in okay. This, but you want it to be personable, right?
Yeah, and authentic.
And
Yeah.
authentic,
Because
exactly.
oh,
So,
by the way, that message that I saw,
uh-huh.
um, yeah, it seemed like ChatGPT. It doesn't seem like that person was sincere at all.
Right, right. So you want to be sincere, you want to be authentic when you do your grant writing. But really, folks, I'm just going to tell you right now, when you get into some of these grants that they have out here, a lot of it's very. I've I've wrote a lot of grants, and I haven't met one that I couldn't complete. And I was like, gosh, it's a no-brainer. So I think that definitely look into it if you could, and reach
Okay.
out to them and ask them the question. Just ask them, hey, if I use grant money, does this prevent me in any does this hinder me in any type of way? And see
Uh-huh.
what they say.
Well, hell, they don't have to know where the grant, where I don't think
Well, because
where
it could come after the application too, right?
Mhm.
So you said that application asks where you getting your money. I mean, the money could come after, but you do
And
want to ask.
it doesn't say that you can't use the money. I'm just saying,
Well, hey,
of
right?
course, it's
Oh, it wasn't included. For sure, for sure. So, yeah. So, having a strategy is definitely key. But yeah, so step two, we talked about paying off the debt using the snowball method. And he says, within this step, it is going to take some time, right? And give yourself that time.
mhm.
Give yourself that time. And then once you have step two done, and you might cycle between step one, step two for a little bit of time. But once you have that done, he said, I'm going to tell you the release that you're going to feel is going to be so amazing. He stated in step three, now we're going to go back. We're going to finish that emergency fund that we were talking that you will definitely want to think about having emergency fund for your personal and making sure that you have an emergency fund because now you have investments already.
Right, for your
And you
business.
didn't really have the time to build in the emergency fund while you had those investments. You'll
Right.
probably want to consider because you're working on a dual task here, dual incomes, if you will,
Mhm.
to do personal and then, of course, for your investments. And then step four, working on investing.
Mhm.
And I like what he's shared. And this is something that I do when I have the money to do it, is I invest in mutual funds. I think that is the smartest way to accumulate wealth. Have a money market account, mutual funds, and then for him, he does debt-free real estate.
Now, who would you recommend doing your mutual funds or your money market account through?
So I do mine through Charles Schwab, but previously I did it through Fidelity, and Fidelity was actually I was hooked to Fidelity through my company,
Right.
GE Capital. And I will tell you, using when I worked for GE, girl, I worked for them only for less than 2 years, a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
I accumulated $40,000 in a year and a half, and that's what I invested in, to a home when because I was moving.
Mhm.
And I used a portion of it to pay down debt, and then I used a portion to invest in a home. But I had
Mhm.
about accumulated in a year and a half $40,000. And so if you are working and your company does a match program, I was always contributing, giving money to that. And I actually kept all of my financial records from them so that I can recall what the heck I was investing in for this moment right here. I'm hoping
Mhm.
I was like, I hope those funds are still around because I was just really, really impressed. But Fidelity, and you might want to get set up because I really like Fidelity. Fidelity has this program that I attend quarterly. They have and it's a woman talks program, And in the Women Talk Pro, we just did one where they were talking about how to get started in investing. And if you get signed up with them, let me see if I can get you the name of the program, because it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal program, and it's these women that come together and they just talk about how you go about getting your money right. Yeah, they have a woman's money talk program, and I don't know if it's quarterly. I always happen to catch it quarterly, I guess. I don't know if it's quarterly or if it's, and they talk to you at the end, or actually all throughout. They always say, would you like to talk to a financial advisor? And you can talk to a financial advisor initially for free. You don't have to be paying out of your pocket for anything. And I think this is where a lot of people, they get jaded with the process because they think the moment I engage a financial advisor, they're going to be wanting money. Yeah, okay, as a part of the process, yeah, once you get started and you start wanting to fund these respective investments,
Right.
whether it be retirement or mutual funds, etc., yeah, they are definitely going to have fees associated with it, but nobody's going to strong arm you to pay
Mm-hmm.
for something that you can't afford.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's wise to just go ahead and engage them and see what do they offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing stops from having a question, stops you from having the question and being able to get information. And then at the end of the day, it's okay if you have to say, no, I need to take a step back. I'm going to evaluate what you've shared and then make a game plan for moving forward,
Right.
right? And I think that's where a lot of people stop because they're just like, I don't want them to force me. Nobody gonna force you to do a thing, right?
Right.
I got people forcing me 24/7. Girl, you need to get rid of this business. Now, I like this business. It keeps me busy, so I'm not in your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really does. I
Mhm.
like doing this business, but and because I like it, I'm gonna keep on doing it, right? So you have to, you can't let people sway you because of how they feel, what they going through, what they thoughts are about you starting now. You're too old, etc. You have to do it when it's right for you, right? Now, I'm not saying wait, like in your case, you probably should have done it when you started investing, right? Got you a good financial advisor.
Mhm.
And now go ahead and engage someone, engage a representative so that you can start building the right strategies for financial wealth, right?
Right.
Um, Yeah, so all right, so we talked about that. So investing, and then step five came in, and I was like, college funding. Girl, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I feel absolutely terrible. Brittany was already set for college. Her dad had her. I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you. And then but then when Aja got ready for college, all I kept telling Aja, I was like, Aja, I am not in a position to even pay for college for you at all. And so her junior year, we had been applying for scholarships. She didn't get any. Um,
Really?
she got one, but it came through her school. Um, she got one to, go to the school of her choice, but it was
Mhm.
just one, and I told her, I was like, I said, this is going to be tough because this is that whole statement, if you don't plan to fail, where I failed you. And I have two more that's coming up, and I was like, I don't want to fail you. I want to be able to do right by you.
Mhm.
And so we start in scholarship writing now. I
Right.
was like, we are doing our scholarship. I don't care if you are in the seventh, the sixth and the seventh grade. We're starting right now. Um, because they actually get to start school. They actually get to start college in seventh grade. So May is actually
Oh,
going to start
do
college
they?
in the spring. Yeah, they get to start. They get to start at seventh grade, middle school. And I
So
was
where is
like,
she gonna go?
I'm up in arms right now because you can do online. You can make a choice where you want to go. I don't know if I want to stay local. Aja, when she did her last 2 years, because she didn't want to do it early, like because Aja could have started. I think when we came back, Aja was entering the eighth, going into the ninth or something like that. But she didn't want to do it. And but I said, okay, Aja, but you should start. I said, because it makes so much sense to try and start getting especially in the US, because everything is done by loans or by grants, etc. Everything's based on your income.
Mhm.
It makes sense because they're willing to pay for your education. These programs that they have when they're in
Within your,
elementary school, middle school, the state pays for it. We
right,
don't pay for it out of our pocket.
right. So
And as long
get as much done,
that's a no-brainer. I was
and
like,
then pay if you have to pay for a year of school, okay.
one or 2 years, this is a no-brainer. I was like, why are we not doing this? But you have to, I hesitate pushing them to do it, because if you do it, you push them and they really don't want to do it, and they fail, it can hurt financial aid for the future. Because
Mm.
you can't come in with less than a 2.0, and if they find out you come in with a 2.0, 2.0 disqualifies you for financial aid. It's
Mm.
also a good tool for weeding out folks. So don't
Right,
push your kid if your kid is not ready for it, right?
right, true.
Because if they fail that class and they have an F, and then the next year they're going into college, oh, and you ain't got no money to pay for it, financial aid ain't gonna pay it either. So you better be careful doing the program, but it is a great program. I was like, this is a no-brainer. So I told her, I was like, we're gonna start light. We're gonna do a drawing class because you like drawing, maybe an animation, get all of your not your core courses, but your electives out of the way,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
you tell me what program that you're interested in, and I'm going to evaluate that program, see what electives are available, and we're going to focus on electives. And then if when you get there, you got to do all your core classes, okay, fantastic. But let's try and focus on some of these electives, the fun stuff, right? But yeah, so it's very important. College funding is really important. I know that with these two coming up, I want to plan better, make sure that they have funding for if they do decide to go to college. And then if they don't decide, of course, that money is just going to roll over. I can roll it over into an IRA for them,
Hmm.
or back over to myself, depending on how they finished out.
Right.
Roll it back over. But then step six. Oh, I want to talk to you about that because Taryn's in college, right? But Taryn, she's funding her own way to school. No, yeah.
Yeah, because what she ended up doing was making herself not a dependent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
when
So
she
she
did that,
emancipated herself, which is not, I mean,
she didn't emancipate herself, but she just basically wanted to do things on her own, and
she
so
gets more
therefore you
funding that
can't,
way.
huh?
She gets more funding that way.
Yeah, she does.
Hmm. Because your
So
income would have gave her
was
no funding. She couldn't
correct,
get, she would have been paying out of pocket. That's why she had to separate herself from you.
correct.
Yeah. Yeah. She wouldn't get any financial aid.
Mm-mm. And
Okay.
so now she
Okay.
can get grants, she gets scholarships, she gets the institutional scholarships,
Right.
because she's staying with now. California is kind of unique in the support that they give higher education.
Hmm.
They're really, progressive and promote, higher education for all, like genuinely.
Right.
So if you stay inside of one of their systems, like the UC system,
Hmm.
and basically like you're moving through their system successfully, like you
Okay.
can just go to any school, you can go to any of the programs. So for example, like she spent this time at Pasadena College.
Okay.
And so excuse me, so she's transferring into the UC system, and then her education is going to be for free.
Oh, okay.
I forget what she called it.
Mhm.
But yeah, but she needs to stop changing her major, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, I thought she was in nursing.
She was. And then just the other day, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, like you're in your last final, she's just all over the place. And I'm just like, part of that
What did she change it to?
is business. And I said, well, what exactly are you going to do with the business degree? Because let me explain something to you. It's better to have a trade or something, um,
Here, here. I can attest to that. I'm
right.
sorry.
It's
I
better
was
to have a
like, I'm sorry.
trade.
If my kids, that's why I told him. I was like, I'm not sending you to a regular high school. I'm going to send you to a trade school. If you want to go to high school, you're going to a trade school because
Right. Like
you
it
should
doesn't
have.
make sense.
No, it does not.
It
Whether the
doesn't make sense to
content.
do these arbitrary degrees of these degree programs that lead to nowhere. They literally lead to nowhere. You
Well,
have
if
to
she
work
wants to go
harder.
into entrepreneurship, I'm all for that. If she said, I got a game plan, I want to build my company, because I think that's what business is good for. Business is for you either gonna work for somebody, or you're going to build your own business. And I talked to Taryn a lot about this because she likes dance. I was like, what stops you from opening up a dance
And
studio?
that's what I
It,
said, because she's not really, and she's not into it for that
you
reason.
can't. Mm.
She's not into it for business. That's just the whole
But she can
lifestyle.
have
That's
like
just
this, the whole, like the competitions, and the what do they
to
do?
build it from what she watched and learned while she was the actively dancing, even as a
Right.
younger but it's very difficult to penetrate through whatever these kids are going through. It's
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not about to, I don't feel obligated or feel pressure in that way to like I can give you the guidance and then you can decide what to do with it. But for me to just keep saying the same thing over and over, oh God, it is painful. It is
Mm-hmm.
painful to hear myself and to then watch and see that nothing is being completed, so
Mm-hmm.
I,
Yeah.
I just let her do whatever if something happens to me, she's fine. She's set. I hope
Mm-hmm.
that, the people surround us, she's surrounded with will guide her
In the
in
right direction.
like, hey, do this, not that,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to remain successful, if you want to
Well, so
continue your
that's why it's
legacy.
even more important for you to start lining up your financial partners too.
Hmm.
Because especially as relates to establishing a trust, and going through the process of your financial advisor and building those relationships. So, any event, anything ever happens, right? She will have contacts, right? She'll have people who understand your financial situation, that you've entrusted in,
Right.
that you've created because you've built that relationship with them, especially because
Hmm.
nobody's telling you to go out here and get yourself a certified a certification, when you do
Hmm.
have teams of people who can truly support you. But you have to make sure, and this is in my meditative Monday, that these people are not designed to sabotage what you're doing,
Right.
and
And
that
toy, and that's
every step of the way, you must be the final decision maker. No one should
yeah.
be pushing you to do or go a certain way that's aligned with their agenda. It has to be
Right.
aligned with your agenda,
Hmm.
right?
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and it's scary
And
because you're
that
like,
actually is what happens you know the the more levels you attain, because this is all a game. So the different levels, like in Nintendo, when we level one, oh yeah, I'm hopping over that was easy. That was easy. Level
right.
two, slightly harder. Level three, slightly harder. Level four. And
But
so
but
as
but
you
what should
progress through the
happen
levels,
though? What should happen though, even in those games, right? Is that you have developed a certain understanding and a skill set in order
mhm.
to take on a higher level,
Right. Yeah, you
right?
do. But as you climb higher levels, what you're gonna find is it's way harder, right? Which is probably why most people don't do it and they stay at level one, right? Is the trust factor you have to have. And just like you said, like with decision making, like for example, with this last project, I don't have a GC over my projects or nothing. I'm like, okay, I look at the project and then I'm like, okay, this is what I want, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You have people who are doing the work who trying to change your project, trying to change your decisions that you make. And then like you're trying to keep down the friction, you trying to keep down the conflict with people who have a different of opinions, and then that creates a complexity. So it's all these different complexities, and I really appreciate you saying like it needs to be, you need to make the final decision, because I don't think people understand that. And so it's very difficult to then find a team or to surround yourself with people without, without that sabotage, because you don't know which one is going to do it. You don't know how things are going to change. Things can change in the at the drop of a hat. Like, and then, everything that you have done is crumbling or near crumbling.
Well, I will tell you, he did share when he started out, he was a millionaire 2 times and lost it all. So it takes time to find the right team. It takes time to find the right team. And I would encourage you, because we're a little bit older. We're not starting this like when we 20 or something.
Right.
But really, when you build relationships, it's for me, like I kept saying, gosh, when I get to that point, number one, I'm probably going to, I know which companies already I'm going to tap. But when I start deciding on who my advisor is going to be, we're probably going to have several talks before I make my initial request, or whichever direction it is that I'm going in. I'll probably fly in, want to meet the person, have some lunch or some tea or something like that. I really think that we have to go honestly in this day and age, because there is just so many people who just don't have good intentions.
They don't. It's just a lot of people trying to figure out. I feel like it's a lot of people trying to figure out how not to do something. Like they have been given the blueprint, and they will just try to figure out how not to do what is exactly like right in front of them. It's like it's always got to take some sort of like they got to go with the fork in the road, like, and they take the wrong
Well,
path. I don't know.
maybe the thought is not how to do it, but they are trying to strategize how to do it most effectively without expending a lot of money and time. If that is the case, maybe one of the questions that you can ask is, let me get your perspective on this before they start an initiative for you.
Right. And that's what
My
they do
thought,
in
my
interviews.
thought process is,
What is your thought on this? And it's really something they want to see what your thought process is, so they know, would you be a good fit for
the project,
their thought processes
or for the project
in
too, because
alignment.
correct, because and I think those conversations don't happen enough.
They don't.
Especially
You're right. I agree with that.
Yeah, because what happens is you're trying to engage somebody, you need them fast. You ain't got time to be trying to build relationships, but that relationship building part is so critical to ensuring that everything is effective and that you are all on the same page. So like when you engage a contractor that you really want, I always do things in three. I do everything in three. If I see like a vision and it hits me, and I keep seeing it, I give myself, three confirmations, right? Before I'm able to act on it, move on it, or even engage with it.
Right.
And so, when I engage people, I'm like, okay, let me engage them, the phone call. Okay, I like them. Okay, let me go ahead and have them come out. Okay, we had a conversation. Great. All right. So now, not only did I engage that person, one, two, before I make my final decision, compared to that individual, I'm about to have three people. So it's going to be that person that I do that to, this person, and that person, so I can now compare the three. Do you have time for that? Probably not. Right. But that's where strategy comes in. If you are planful, right? You'll have the time to be able to do that before I start engaging with people. I
Right.
have to do that because I am not trying to be dealing with no scallywags. You are not about to be wasting my time. And
And
that's what you
dragging
do,
you for no
because
reason.
dragging you for no reason. But just think about if you did the work before in building the relationship, while you're going through that process, all the time that you're losing wouldn't be there. That's the goal. The goal is to make it flow so smooth that you won't have to have those instances of, oh, what was her expectations? That's not what my expectations were. No, no, we ain't having those conversations because we already had those conversations back when I engaged you and we talked for 6 months before I
Right.
signed the contract. You understand
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So it won't be a lot of a rigmarole. And I know that is something that's very difficult because not a lot of people plan in that way. But I would
We
I
don't.
would definitely request and strongly encourage you to just be more planful when you start your projects,
Mhm.
and making sure that you have the right team. And once you've identified the right team, try and get to know them on a personal level and get to know their
Right.
intentions. And when you have an objective, delivering that objective to them,
Hmm.
and not only delivering that objective to them, allow them to have buy-in, because that's what we don't do. And not that you're going to take their buy-in, but you're going to give them an opportunity so that they will feel invested. But if you don't give them that opportunity to feel invested, they're not going to give you the level of respect that you desire.
Mm.
Right. So I just wanted to share that with you, so that things can start moving a little bit more fluid for you, that you might have to put a little bit more upfront work. And this is what he said, right? And if
Hmm.
we want to have a total money makeover, the first 5 to 6 years, you're going to have to put up that upfront work.
Right.
And then when you get to that fifth or sixth year, it's all just going to be flowing. Now you have money to invest here, invest
Hmm.
in your child's college funding. Now you have a little extra cash. If you have a home, you have a mortgage, what can you do? Put a little money on this, give a little extra to that mortgage, pay your house off. He don't agree with 30-year mortgages. He said do 15, right?
Hmm.
So if you're about to purchase a home, get a 15-year mortgage. Now you can pay for that. Now you
Right.
can invest in all. You can put your money's going towards all of that. And then of course, step 7, once you're done with that, build wealth like crazy. Have fun with your money,
Hmm.
invest your money, continue with additional investments. I love some of the stories he was talking about. One guy was able to use his money to purchase bikes for a like a low income housing every
What did
year.
he do?
Purchased like
Bikes?
75 bikes he would give to
Oh, okay.
kids in a low income housing every year. And I was like, oh my God, how awesome is that? How awesome would that feel to be able to have that much residual income that you can just start to share it,
Mhm.
share your wealth, right? And see other people, give give others a light of what life could be like if you do life right.
Mhm.
Giving. I love that. And to go back to Sue, last night when I was able to do, because I've been working so much overtime, I was like, woo, thank God for the overtime. Because I don't know if I would have been able to help you, Sue. I know it's only like $7, but I've been like, yes, that's $7, good to go. But I was like, I've been working hard, I feel like, and you seem like you're a good person. Until you show me otherwise, we're gonna take our time with it. But let me see if I can help you ensure that your tuna ain't dry tonight.
Right.
Yeah,
You want to make
yeah.
sure your tuna ain't dry tonight.
Right, girl. I got you hooked up. Give you a little moisture to that tuna. You got some relish. I hope she got some seasoning. I should have asked her that. You got some seasoning too, because you just can't be putting those relishes.
Right.
We need some coriander and some, no, let me stop. All right, all right. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to share?
No, that's you know what? That's insightful. I appreciate the referrals for the Charles Schwab and Fidelity. I think I got some money in Fidelity somewhere that
You do.
I never withdrew or anything.
Oh.
So I think I
hope,
might want to
hope it
look
was
into
being
that.
funded. Hello.
Huh?
I said, hope it was being funded. You
It
can
was when I
have
was
it there.
actually working for an employer.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, hopefully it was
Um,
being funded. Because, girl, I had money in an investment account and it was not being funded. And I was so pissed. I was like, oh, why I did not have this funded? Oh, my goodness. What is wrong with me? So,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
just, yeah, make
I'll look
sure
into
that when
that.
you have your money in those accounts, that you are funding the monies that you're putting in the account. But yeah, Charles Schwab, Fidelity. I'll drop the link in the description here too, and I'll go ahead, make sure I get it, and I'll send it over to you. But I think it's like a Fidelity Women's Talk program. It's
Hmm.
really really cool, and they have entertainers. Like
Hmm.
who's the girl? Eve, not Eve. What's her name? Who played the Wicked Witch and with like that, but they have like artists and different people come and share with regards to how they're managing money and things of that nature. They do a lot of wealth talks,
Hmm.
and I attend those about quarterly every time they post it, and I see it. And so I strongly encourage that you attend that one. And this last one was about, how to get started with investing. They have very similar steps. I was like, dang, did they use the Dave Ramsey? I think they used the Dave Ramsey steps. They so was following his steps. And I was like, okay, Dave, I see you out here, planting your seed.
Right.
Right, right. So
Influencing people.
influencing folks the right way. But yeah, I'm really excited to get started on this and hopefully be able to make some moves where in the next 4 to 5, by the time the kids getting ready to go to school, I'm set, girl, traveling the world.
Oh.
Up next, our quarterly giveaway. All right, my friends, our quarterly giveaway has arrived. This program was created as a way to thank you for listening to our podcast, Proactive is the Way, and participating in the Proactive is the Way activities within the Proactive is the Way group on Facebook. In this giveaway, you could win the following: $100 for sure, and our featured books highlighted during the quarter. If we're unable to deliver digital books, you will have an opportunity to select an item from the KK Cafe collection. So, how do you win? It's quite simple. You can subscribe to our podcast on Podbean, join the Proactive is the Way group on Facebook, and if you join, participate in the Proactive is the Way group by providing a meaningful comment or engaging in the activities. The more that you do, the more chances your name will be entered into the drawing. The giveaway will close this quarter by the end of day, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, October 4th, 2025. And the winner will be announced on Sunday, October 5th. Please note, if you are selected as a winner, you must claim your prize within 30 days. All right, folks, that's a wrap. Join us in 2 weeks for our next series, The Value Added Blueprint, Turning Vision into Impact. Now that I'm working on getting my finances in order, my next step is learning how to leverage savings to build a legacy. One that not only supports my family, but also makes a lasting impact in the world. As many of you know, I own a business, Kinky Cafe, and my vision is to expand it into a true value-add company within the health and wellness space. One that challenges us to think differently, take ownership of our well-being, and create more approachable ways to manage health for ourselves and our families. To guide this journey, I'll be diving into 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Thiel reminds us that repeating what's already been done takes the world from 1 to N. But true innovation happens when we create something new, moving from 0 to 1. His challenge is clear. Think for yourself, escape competition, and build something valuable and enduring. Join me in 2 weeks as I launch my next series on exactly that, how to build that value-driven business that leaves a meaningful mark. To prepare for our conversations, make sure to pick up a copy for our featured book. Details are in the description. For access to replays and to learn more about Kinky Cafe's Proactive is the Way, please visit www.kinkyknotscafe.com. Stay proactive, my friends. Take good care.